Rusk disagrees with you, and he was the Secretary of State at the time, but that's fine.
The communist nations have exploited the turmoil of a time of transition in an effort to extend communist control into other areas of the world.
Thoughts on Dean Rusk and America's involvement in Vietnam? I know next to nothing about that.
Exactly. Outside of the corruption and drug use, what the Biden family did was destroy trust in American institutions. Nobody looks at an FBI report anymore with a giant grain of salt because of their involvement in Russiagate, basing a nonsensical, unsourced story funded by Hillary Clinton, sourced by Dan Shenko, an actual Russian stooge, about his fantasies about Trump peeing on beds with hookers, or that Carter Page, despite the CIA telling him that he worked for them, is some kind of Russian influence agent person. When you get your CIA guy to gather up 51 former intel-related individuals to write a letter to cut off criticism, very legit criticism, about a laptop that was left in a repair shop by a crackhead whoremonger who was so stoned that he left his own laptop there, with business deals in Kazakhstan, in Romania, in China, in Russia, in Ukraine, all of it out in the open. And in order to hedge that, you abuse the intel agencies. You have now destroyed the American people's trust in that system. Do you know why the American dollar is the currency of the world? Because people around the world trust in the American government's ability to pay its bills. They trust that America is the sole superpower. A lot of our institutions are not just with the rifle and the authority of the state. They come with a level of trust that Americans have for these institutions. And they destroyed that trust, specifically when it came to the intel agencies, specifically when it came to the media. When the media ran cover, when Brian Stelter was out there saying that, agreeing just verbatim with no amount of research on his own, just buying the line that these intel agents said that this laptop has the hallmarks of a Russian influence operation. No, it didn't. And Hunter himself today will tell you, no, it didn't. Everything in the laptop was real. He spent years in court claiming at the same time that his data from the laptop was hacked, and there was a chain of custody problem when Rudy Giuliani got it, and he never once said, okay, so since it was hacked, you're claiming that it was hacked and that the data that we're seeing is not real. So what exactly was added? Which business deal that we're looking at here from all these countries, from the same laptop that has your dick pics on it and all the fucking whores that you're banging, which one of those is not real? Which one was added? What was subtracted? Never gets into that detail. Him and his defense team spent time slandering whistleblowers, just IRS agents, not even Republicans. Him and his defense team, at the same time while they were claiming that the laptop was somehow a Russian influence operation, were also suing and claiming that personal information was taken from it. I'm sorry, I thought that it was a Russian I thought it was fake. How is this yours and you're claiming privacy rights while at the same time claiming that it was a hoax? How does that work? And now he's just out there, oh, I'm a rehabbed individual. That's funny. You'd think in one of the steps of rehab you'd have to own up to your mistakes. Whatever the 12 steps are, I don't know. I don't bother with rehab. I'm just not an asshole. Isn't one of them admit you have a problem, then you got to apologize to all the people that you've wronged? Have you ever told the American people, I'm sorry that the media covered for me and claimed that my laptop was Russian disinformation? I'm sorry that my family used the intel agencies to cover up my dirty business deals and my dirty drug use and my dirty prostituting myself for drug money and for fucking cash from foreign countries, while banging everything that moved to the tune of $800,000 plus. Oh, woe is me, regular guy with a drug problem, spending $800,000 plus on prostitutes. You know, like your average junkie. Aren't you in recovery? Aren't you supposed to fess up to your sins? Your own book doesn't mention the endless amounts of prostitutes that you were banging. You didn't own up to shit. You wrote a cover-up novel. Sir, your book made no sense. You were making defensive claims about your family business dealings that even those who defended your family wouldn't ever make because they're so ballsy and stupid. You can't at the same time claim that your dad fired a prosecutor for not going after corruption, that he would go to the ends of the earth to fight corruption and not give them $1 billion worth of aid because of the corruption going on at the company that you worked for. Because you're admitting that you're working for a corrupt company. Normal people know when to put a period and a paragraph in sentences. They know when to stop. They know to say that your father fired a prosecutor because he wasn't good enough on hunting down corruption. They don't then add corruption at Burisma, the company that I worked for, under Malchescu, who was corrupt. You don't add that last part. You leave that out. You just say, my father fired Shokin because Shokin was not going after corruption. By the way, he was replaced with the brilliant Levichenko, or however you pronounce that, who was indeed very corrupt. Very odd that an anti-corruption campaign ends with the placement of somebody who was extremely corrupt when he was in government and when he was a prosecutor. But you don't add the part of, my dad fired Shokin for not investigating corruption at Burisma. Don't add the company that you yourself are working for. You're admitting that you're working for a corrupt company. No one's buying that you're the sole whistleblower in the company trying to fix corruption, that you were brought in there to fix corruption while the head of the company is still running the show. Shut the fuck up.
It's a company that you worked for. You were working for a corrupt company? I'm supposed to believe that your dad told the Ukrainians, listen, you need to have Burisma, where my son works, As a matter of fact, you need to have my son investigated. I want my son behind bars. That general prosecutor isn't doing his job, and I'm going to withhold $1 billion worth of aid until my son is arrested. What the fuck is this supposed to mean? I'll tell you what it means in Hunter's head. You see, in order to believe the Hunter Biden story, Shokin cannot be investigating Burisma. If Shokin is investigating Burisma, then the President of the United States is withholding $1 billion of aid money because they won't fire a guy who's investigating a company where his son works. The only way that Hunter Biden and Joe Biden can look sane and normal and non-corrupt is if Shokin is not investigating Burisma. What Hunter is doing here, he's mixing two different things. He could have been perfectly fine if he just left that last part out. If he just wrote, a priority for my dad was the ouster of the country's prosecutor general, Viktor Shokin, for his failure to adequately investigate corruption. It was a view shared widely by European allies. That's fine. But in order to defend his dad, he has to say that I have worked and am working for a corrupt company. That doesn't make fucking sense. That doesn't make fucking sense. What the fuck does that supposed to mean? It's bullshit. In his head, he knows he has to say, Shokin never investigated Burisma. That's what he has to say. Shokin never investigated Burisma. My dad didn't fire him because he was investigating Burisma. He fired him because he was corrupt. But you can't say that he fired him because he didn't investigate Burisma. That can't be the driving force because you worked for Burisma. Stupid, dumb, drug addict, pervert, selfish cunt.
He can't stop lying. Do I look like a member of the elite class? This is a picture of me from a Super 8 motel. No, it isn't. Look at the Marco Polo report. They'll tell you exactly where that photo was taken from. He can't stop lying. It's a disgusting, selfish family that pardoned itself out of fucking jail. I'm just on Twitter now. Well, it's great that you're on Twitter because you're going to bring down the Democrat Party with you. No one is looking at you doing the old, ha-ha, the reason why I'm not in jail is because Daddy pardoned me, and going, oh, that's a good guy. That's blue sky fucking jihad weirdo commie shit. No average American is looking at you gloating about the fact that your father pardoned you as a good thing, as an honorable thing, as a guy who's just struggling with drug addiction, who's trying to put his life together. You're still claiming that your paintings were just, I have a love of painting. It's when your money dried up, you sold your painting to a Democrat donor. Well, I had no idea that would happen. It was kept in secret. Bullshit. You can't stop lying. You are a selfish, worthless piece of shit. Your problem isn't drugs. Your problem is selfishness. What kind of man disowns his own daughter? You banged up a stripper. It's your daughter. I'm sorry. Not only that, you got the most powerful person in the world to disown his own granddaughter. What kind of people are these? You people are fucking filth. These are not the acts of regular people. You're in an elitist fucking bubble, spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on prostitutes and narcotics. If you were a working regular man, that addiction would have killed you. Physically, emotionally, and spiritually, because you would have hit bottom. But you had a very powerful family, and you had a lot of money, and you never really hit bottom. I know you like to claim in this rehab arc story how you've reinvented yourself. If you were black, you would be in jail.
If you have a piece of crack cocaine no bigger than this quarter that I'm holding in my hand, $1/4 of $1, we passed a law through the leadership of Senator Thurmond and myself and others, a law that says if you're caught with that, you go to jail for 5 years. You get no probation. You get nothing other than 5 years in jail. Judge doesn't have a choice. Under our forfeiture statutes, the government can take everything you own. Everything from your car to your house, your bank account, not merely what they confiscate in terms of the dollars from the transaction that you've just got caught engaging in. They can take everything. I don't care why they become a sociopath. We have an obligation to cordon them off from the rest of society. They are in jail. Away from my mother, your husband, our families. So I don't want to ask what made them do this. They must be taken off the street.
You would be unemployed and you'd be a zombie in the streets, cracking people over the head with a pipe for drug money. You're a dick. Go fuck yourself.
You made me a junkie. You don't really love me. You just got me hooked. You came along like a prick in my vein. You get me high, but you make me insane. You gave me the drugs, then you took them away. You just made me a junkie. You don't really love me. You just got me hooked. You gave me the drugs, then you took them away. Till I cried and I shook. You just made me a junkie. We're both abusers. Now I can cry or get high like the loser. You made me a junkie. You don't really love me. You just got me hooked.
Deception.
not just in lost money, but in lost lives, lost relationships, and the specific kind of moral damage that comes from building your career on something you know isn't real.
Yeah, that's